everyone, welcome back. Yes, I am here, I am returning, I am back. Very sorry, it has been a very, very long time. It's been several months, but we are now in 2019. We're starting fresh. Things are going to be hopefully a little bit better. We're going to get some more stuff out there, a bit more content, a little bit more regularly on a slightly better production schedule. Things are going to be a little bit different to the way we're playing things, just to try and help speed things along and make things a bit more interesting. So we are, however, back in the long dark, as we can see. We are going to start another playthrough. I know we had a playthrough going. It was quite a while ago. It's been quite a few months, unfortunately. Things have been incredibly busy, and I'll explain all about that once we get started. But we're going to start again. We're going to start a brand new playthrough. And we're going to go through, again, in survival mode. We're going to go into stalker mode, and we're going to carry on. And we're kind of going to do a similar thing to what we were doing in the last one, but maybe without that little challenge to move everything to one location. That just didn't work for me. We're going to go for longevity this time. That's the plan for this series. So we'll get into the game, then I'll sort of talk about what's going to be going on, what we're going to be doing. So, let us load into survival mode. And we're going to start a new game, and we're going to go into stalker. And we're going to confirm that. Now, where do we start? Now, one thing I am going to say, I've started recording this series quite early. I've got many different things going on in my production schedules for photography and for video, so I'm working quite a long way ahead. I'm hoping I can get that down a little bit. I don't want to be too far ahead, because then when updates come out, I'm going to be miles behind when you finally see them. But right now I am working quite a long way ahead. So this is prior to any December updates. There has been a delay on the third episode of Wintermute. Obviously, we're playing survival, we're not playing in Wintermute, but I don't know if there's any other survival mode updates that might well be coming out at the same time. So, just in case that has come out and it is there, we are filming this or starting this series just before any of those updates may appear. I don't know when they're likely to turn up, because I know they've been delayed, but I don't know how far by, because I didn't read the press release before I started, which was a bit of a silly thing to do. So, we are here, we're in survival mode as it stands at the start of December. So, let us see where we're going to start. Hush River Valley, I'm not going to start in. That is quite a tricky region, which I've never been to. It's a relatively new region, and I've never actually been there, so we're not going to start there. I'm not going to choose random, because anything could happen. I'm not going to start in Milton this time either. I'm actually going to start in Pleasant Valley. I'm going to try and keep myself fairly centralised. So we're going to start in Pleasant Valley. We're going to pick up from there. We're going to build our base in probably the farmhouse, and then we're going to spread out and visit the other regions from there. That's the plan. And again, longevity, that's what we're going for. So, let's get ourselves into Pleasant Valley. Eeny, meeny, miny, we'll leave it on female. I'm never really that bothered. Okay, so this is our 2019 playthrough. So, let's accept that. And away we go. So, we're heading back into the wilderness. I haven't even played the Long Dark for a few months, so hopefully I can remember the controls, because this could be embarrassing if I can't. So, let's get ourselves going. Takes a while. Okay, good. So, let's go. Where are we going to spawn? I do like these little inspirational quotes you always get when you start the Long Dark. Okay. Oh, brilliant. So we're coming into night time, which is just what you want. Are we where I think we are? Oh, no, we're not coming into night time. It's got suddenly very bright. Okay, we've got some picnic benches down here. Now, Pleasant Valley is a region I know reasonably well, but not 100% brilliantly. Just bear with me. I'm going to have to turn the volume up. There we go. I turned it down when the music on the menu was playing. I forgot to take it back again. Okay, so we are here at one of the campsites. Got some picnic benches going on. It's not one of the sites that's got... Oh, this is a good start. Hatchet straight out of the back. Perfect. That does not happen every time. Sometimes we can go for ages before we find a hatchet. Okay, let's just gather up all of the sticks that we can see. So we've got off to a reasonably good start. We're in the picnic spot. I don't know 100% where this is. I think it's on the northern edge of the Pleasant Valley map. Let's just have a quick look around these benches, just make sure there's nothing lurking. Oh, we've got a bit of food. Oh, it's soda. That'll do. Okay, I think this is on the northern edge of the map. What I'm going to do then, we'll head sort of this way and have a look over the ridge. I don't know exactly where I am. I think I've got a vague idea where we are, but I don't have a absolute idea where we are. So we're going to do a little bit of exploring just to get this playthrough underway, see if we can work out where we are, get our initial base camp all sorted out. Whoop, there's a wolf over there. We're definitely not in a position to be dealing with those right now, so let's keep well away from Wolfie. Do not want to be dealing with wolves this early on in the playthrough. We've got absolutely nothing at the moment. Okay. I've got a vague idea. I know where we are, which is probably going to be proven to be completely wrong. Ah, there's a bridge. Let's head for the bridge, because that means road, and road is a good navigation point to figure out exactly which way we've got to go. So, we are back in the long dark. Now, this playthrough, I want to kind of, as we're walking down to the bridge, I'll go through what we're going to be doing in this playthrough, how I'm going to be recording it. Now, in the past, I've always kind of just recorded it absolutely as everything happens, nothing gets edited, nothing gets cut out. The only problem with that is it's led to some kind of very boring, very samey videos where we're basically just surviving. We're just going through the standard motions. We're stuck in a cabin for an entire video because the weather means we can't go anywhere, and it's just not good. Ooh. Is that a seedling? It is. Okay, I'm going to have that because I've got a hatchet. So I might as well have it, since I know I'm fairly close to a bridge. So I shouldn't be too far away from some sort of shelter.
Say I hate being cold.
Yep, you mentioned it quite a bit. That's a deer. Now, of course, we've got to look out for the moose now as well. We've got to make sure what we're approaching is actually a deer, not a moose. Hello, bunny. You're safe for the moment, don't worry. Yeah, so a lot of the videos tended to end up being a bit samey, where I was just stuck in the hut, not able to go anywhere because the weather was so poor, or our health was in such bad condition, or kind of repeating many of the same things over and over and over again. So I've decided I'm going to change the way I do the long dark videos. What we're going to do is I'm going to do them a little bit more like, if you look way back down my video upload list, you'll see the old Fallout 4 quest playthroughs. And I edited those, so whenever I was doing something that was a bit not very interesting, or repetitive, or whatever, I cut it out. And I'm going to start doing the same thing again with the long dark. What I'm going to do is, whenever we're doing something like this, where we're going from A to B, we know where we're going from, we know where we're going to, and it's just a walk, I'm going to cut it. We're not going to... I'm going to cut it out unless something happens. If something happens, we'll put it back in. And we'll cut to that point. But I'm going to cut out all the samey stuff. I'm going to cut out all of the kind of just trudging about in just bog standard walking and all that kind of thing. I'm just going to bring it in whenever something happens. And the same goes for a lot of the repetitive action. So our basic survival stuff you know how to do it. If you've played the Long Dark or you've watched these videos, you know what to do. Making water and all that kind of thing, you know how to do it. So I'm going to do all that off camera. And then I'll just sort of fill you in on what I've done. Just so that we can kind of keep the videos a bit more interesting, just focus on the stuff that's happening that's actually kind of cool. So that's what we're going to do. Heartbreak Bridge. That means we're not very far from the farmstead, which is good. I was also wrong, by the way. We're on the southern end of the map, not the northern end. Okay, let's get up over this ridge then. And hopefully this should put us on the field. I think this actually puts us fairly close to the farmstead, you know. I don't think we're a million miles away from the farmstead. Might even be straight over this hill. My memory serves me. Yep, there's the orchard. Perfect. Good start. Unless the bear's here, which it isn't, which is good. Okay, cool. So that's actually that's the best start we probably could have hoped for, in all honesty, short of spawning in the garden. So we're now going to make our way to the farmstead, which is going to be our main base for this entire playthrough. Okay, so after this video we're going to do real time. I'm not going to edit it. After this video, we're going to start making things a bit more interesting, shall we say. Okay, so we're here at the farmstead. A few things have changed. There's a truck with some things on it. And there's whatever that is. It's a fallen water tower by the looks of it. They weren't here before. But other than that, exterior looks exactly the same. Let's drop inside then. Always shut that door. I don't know why. Don't need to. Jerry can, good start. Newsprint roll, good start. Let's get inside and loot the house. So we're going to go through. We're going to loot the whole house and get ourselves established then. So this is standard practice. If you've seen any of my videos, you know how I do this. I am going to go through this entire house and I'm going to empty every cupboard, gather everything together, and then I'm going to restash it. Mostly down here in this area, just so that I know where things are. So let's go through the kitchen first then. So nothing in there. Of course we have a note left behind. Let's read it. Bread is 2 parts flour to 1 part water. Equal parts of salt and raising agent. Small pile. This is about the size of a quarter. I don't know how big that is. That's a lie. I do. I've got one around here actually somewhere. We don't have quarters in the UK. We have 10 pence coins. They're about the same size as a quarter. Yeast if you're lucky, baking soda if you're not. Raw dough should be okay. So basically, it's a very basic bread recipe. It's a little bit more complicated to do it properly, but in a survival situation, we're not too bothered about doing it properly. Okay. Okay, we've got some firewood. That's good. You could argue that I could leave that somewhere, but I'm not going to. Oh yes, of course. The just at the end of the last playthrough, of course, they brought in the changed cooking mechanic. So things are very different. You need to have a cooking pot now. I will leave it there. I am gonna have to pick it up to be able to use it, but you need to have a cooking pot to make water and to cook food now, and it takes time. In fact, that's a good point. It takes time.
Hope nobody needs this anymore.
It takes time. Have we got the stuff to light a fire? Well, let's take the charcoal for map making. Gonna need that because we're gonna need some water fairly soon. Got some accelerant. Let's try not to use accelerant. I've got lots of sticks. I've only got 1 tinder plug, but I have got some newspaper. So let's see if we can just start a fire, have a short fire, and just try and make a small quantity of water using the cooking pot, just so that we can get this going whilst we are exploring the house. Although, of course, we have to keep an eye on the timings of everything. At least we're no longer at hypothermia risk. That's good. That's actually going to be an interesting point. It has changed, and I haven't really played the game since it's changed, so this could be interesting. I could mess this up quite badly. There we go. Okay, so we have a fire. Not a particularly good one. Give ourselves a couple of hours of fire duration, and we want to do some cooking, which I can't remember how to do. I honestly can't remember. I honestly can't remember how to do it. Do I have to? There we are. Aha, there we go. That's how we do it. So we want to melt snow. That's going to take 30 minutes to melt a litre. Let's do 1.5 litres. Cook. So it's going to take 45 minutes to melt. Obviously that's not 45 real-time minutes, so let's we've got a bit of time now while that's happening to go off and do a little bit of exploration. I'm sure with a bit of practice we'll gauge. We'll start to gauge this. Ooh, that's another cooking pot, some tomato soup. Probably will gather up as many cooking pots as we can, because you need multiple cooking pots to do multiple different things. It is like real life. If you put something on the stove to cook, you go off and do something else, it's easy to get distracted and burn it. So just need to get a handle on it. Plenty of condensed milk and stuff around here. That's a good start. 36 minutes till melted. Okay, it's a shame it's a bit dark. I'm really hoping you can actually see some stuff here. It is a bit dark. Wish I don't have a
Looks like this has
a
been
zap
for a while.
energy bar. That reminds me, we were talking about me and one of my colleagues at work were the same. We're pretty much exactly the same age, and we were talking the other day about old things we remember from our childhood. And Zap was an old TV show in the UK in the 80s, or well, actually the 90s, when we were kids. Okay. Nothing about here then. What we got? We got a book. That's good fire starting material. Got some matches, which is good. I am probably going to miss things in this darkness, but I don't really have any light sources available to me at the moment. So I know you guys are probably struggling to see, but believe me, so am I.
I think I can use this.
Newsprints, that's all that's in there. Okay, let's just go back and check on our... It should start 22 minutes till melted, so it's about halfway through. I believe it should start to boil. Once it melts, it should automatically start to boil. Ah, storm lantern. Okay, I'm actually going to use that storm lantern. I don't know how much fuel we've got, but I really want to see what I'm doing. There we go. Okay, so book. Fireplace, obviously. Oh, we haven't got any firewood by this fireplace. That's a disappointment. What else have we got? Not very much in here, actually. More newsprint. That's good for tinder. Ooh, magnifying glass. Whoa! No, 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 no. Magnifying glass is what I'm after. There we are. Okay, we'll break all this down into firewood fairly soon. I won't do it now. We'll do it at some point. Rifle cartridge. See, I knew I'd miss things in the dark. Nothing under that one. So this is the bog standard way that we loot a house. Whenever we come in, 10 minutes until melted, we're going to loot another room. This is the standard approach. So the way I do things, if you've never seen me play before, whenever I come into a new area, a new building, I will just go through it systematically, bit by bit, gather up everything that's in it, bring it all back to a central point. Obviously, my ultimate aim, the way I tend to do things is I'll set up a main base camp in each region, and I will then try and get everything from all the other buildings into that one building, and that's all of my resources then in one place. It's not always possible because things are quite heavy, you can't always carry everything, so I do tend to leave behind things which I've already got an abundance of or that aren't going to be useful for me. I will leave those behind, but I'll still gather them up within the building to move them near the door, so they're by the entrance, because that's kind of a signal to me for two things. One, if I do need what I've left behind, I can easily go and get it, and I know where it is. I haven't got to go looking for it again. It's inside the door. Secondly, if I go into a building, if I can't remember, if it's been a while since I've been to a particular area, if I can't remember if I looted that building or not, I can just go in, and if there's a pile of stuff in the doorway, I've looted it, and I can say with confidence that there is nothing left inside that building. In fact, I did see a rifle cartridge. Did I pick it up? No, I didn't. So anybody who thinks I missed that, I did actually see it as soon as I walked in, but just forgot to pick it up. Right, okay. Let's just head back over here, see what's happening. Now, it should go from snow to boiling the water, which is what's happening. So I've got 36 minutes. So that's actually good. We don't have to do the two operations separately. We're now doing them together. It will start to boil off when it reaches that point. That's the way it works. So you go from it being snow, melting to water, or non-potable water. It then turns into potable water, and then it slowly boils off until it boils dry. And you lose it all. And that's, of course, a complete waste of all your resources, so you need to keep an eye on it. So that's how the new cooking mechanic... Stop doing that. Cooking mechanic works. You've got to watch what you're doing. Otherwise, you're going to lose some of those precious resources you've just spent time and energy trying to gather. Trying to gather water. We've wasted all of our firewood and all of our time if we end up letting it all boil dry and we lose some of it. Ooh, a scarf. Yeah, the stuff hiding under the table, under the beds and things, is always fun because it's not very easy to get at it. Okay, so we've done that room. Let's do this bathroom. Take all of the water. I actually forgot about that when I thought, oh, I need to do some water. I forgot about this. There's two bathrooms in here. We can get water quite easily, actually. Every little helps.
This will come in handy.
Notification tablets and nothing else. So what I'm doing initially, go through, loot it, pick up all the lootable items. Oh, good. That's a good find. A mariner's pea coat, they're pretty good. Okay. Oh, I can hear boiling noises, so I'm going to leave the rest of that room. I'll come back to it in a minute. Let's just go down and check on our... Whoops, wrong way. Check on our... I'm going to break that chair down as well because it's in the way. 16 minutes till boiled, so it's almost gone. Let's break down this chair. How long is that going to take me? It's going to take me an hour. So I don't want to do that. Put the pieces together. If that's going to take me an hour, I'll have lost all my water by the time I finish it. So they're the kind of things we have to pay attention to now. Don't just click the button. We'll have lost all of our water if I do that. So let's come out of it. Gonna have to leave that. That's something to do at another time. I'm gonna keep an eye on this water actually now, I think. That's gonna take 8 minutes to break down that crate. And I've got 9 minutes till it's boiled. That's a bit tight for me, so I'm not gonna bother. Let's just hang fire. Time is a-ticking away. We've got to get it pretty quickly when it changes, or we're going to start losing water, so... We get to a point... Oh, cloth. Ooh, that looks like it should be something, but it isn't. So we've actually got quite a lot of stuff, so we'll get this water out in a minute. Before we get back and we'll finish upstairs, we'll start laying everything out, and I'll show you how I organise myself, because I like to organise my base camps, so I know what I've got and where it is, and I can lay my hands on it when I need it. So this is kind of part how I play the game before we really go. I mean, if you've seen the videos before, you know how I play the game, but this is kind of beneficial for people who've not seen it before. Okay, so we grabbed that water as soon as it turned, so we should have got the full 1.5 litres, which we did. So we're all good. Okay, so I'm just going to place that down on the table there. That's actually let's pick that up and turn it off. No. It's not putting as much light out as I hoped, actually. Okay, let's turn it back on again. I'm not too worried about using up all of my lantern fuel at this stage, because I've got plenty. Okay, so now what I want to do is try and decide where I want to keep stuff. So I think what I'm going to do, anything to do with the fire, so firewood, tinder, well, big blocks of firewood and big loads of tinder I tend to keep on the floor. Around here, but accelerant, matches, more matches I tend to keep on the counter. So matches I'm going to keep probably here. Matches and accelerant I'll keep on here. So let's see what we've got, if we've got any excess material that we don't need to be carrying. Probably don't need to be carrying all these matches, so I'm going to drop them, which then means I can pick them up and I'll pop them on here. I've got loads of books, so let's drop them onto the floor. They're good fire starting material. We're going to drop all but one of them, I think. In fact, no, let's drop them all for now. Let's just drop all of them. Sticks and firewood, I'll hang on to those for the time being. I'll hang on to those for now. So I'm going to keep all the books there. Matches, things like that, I'm going to keep there. Food, spare food and water, I always keep in the fridge and the freezer. Water goes in the freezer, food goes in the fridge. So that's how I tend to do it. So in the freezer, if we bring up the food section, we've got 5 litres of water. That's very heavy. We don't need to be carrying all of that. I tend to carry about 2 to 3 litres of water. So I'm going to get rid of 3.5 litres. That leaves me with 1.6 litres. I'm in the building, so I'm not too worried about the fact I've got a little bit less. But I tend to go out with about 3 litres, and I'll make more as I go. Everything else I consider as being food. I haven't got very much, as you can see. When we start getting more and more and more, we'll put it in the fridge. So that's where I'm going to be storing. So water in there, food in there, fire starting materials, firewood on the floor, matches and things on the side. Down the rest of this table, I'll keep things like spare lanterns, lantern fuel, tools, equipment, things like that. I'll keep on these tables. Weapons, I will probably keep... Ooh, there's a can opener there that I completely missed. Speaking of equipment, there we go, 1 can opener. So we'll keep that. I'll probably put that into my inventory actually, because it's the only one I've got. But if I get spare ones, I'll pop them on that table. That's starting to go. We're going to run out of fuel in that in a minute. Weapons and things like that I'll pop on this table over here. It's just annoying I can't get rid of these bowls. But yeah, it is what it is. So that's generally how I lay things out. Spare medical supplies I'll put in the nearest first aid cabinet, which of course is this one. So let's just open that now and see if I actually have any spare medical supplies. I don't, so I'll keep with me what I've got. In fact, yeah, I do. I don't need to carry 2 bottles of antiseptic around with me. So we'll get rid of one of those. We'll keep those 2 in there. It's this point in the game, we haven't got very much. So there isn't very much for us to store at this point. Okay, my lantern is probably not very far from running out of fuel by the looks of things. Starting to gut a little bit. So let's head back upstairs and see if we can finish off these rooms. I can't remember which one we'd started. It was this one, wasn't it? We'd started, but we haven't finished, so let's go through. So you get an idea now of how I play the game. Set ourselves up a base camp, which is going to be this building, the farmstead, and get ourselves organised downstairs by the main door, and take it from there. Go around and loot the entire building. I have seen that rifle cleaning kit, by the way, for anyone who thinks I have missed it. Not very rich pickings in this one. Scrap metal. So that rifle cleaning kit we saw on the way in. Whoops, no, don't put it out just yet. Okay, so not very much in this one, to be fair. I'm just hoping I've not missed anything really obvious, like a rifle. You do quite often get rifles in here, but unfortunately we haven't got one. Oh, and that's gone. Yeah. Okay, I've got some matches, so we can light one of those to give us a little bit of light. I just want to make sure I haven't missed anything like rifles or anything like that in silly places. So obviously it's now gone dark. It's really hard to... burned hand. Okay, let's see if we can sleep a little bit just to get us through into daylight. We're coming up to midnight. I need to drink some water. I didn't do that the easy way, I did that long-winded way. Let's drink some water, and I've got a candy bar here which is quite low, so I'm going to eat that. Just about above the point. Anything less than 20%, I won't tend to eat it. It's a bit higher risk. Anything above is generally okay, but if it's borderline, it's a little bit, you might get food poisoning from it. Okay, let's sleep for a few hours then, if we can do 5. That will get us through, hopefully, to daylight, then we can see what we're doing. Because we're kind of at the point where I've woke up fully rested, and it's still in the middle of the night. That is a bit of a nuisance. I can pass time, of course. I can pass time. But, okay. So, I'm just going to sort through some clothing then before we think about doing anything else, because we've picked up some bits of clothing. So, I've got another scarf, so I'm going to wear both scarves, so that'll give me some sort of bonus. I have a Mariner's pea coat, which is in pretty good condition, isn't it? 94%, yeah, really good. So I'm going to pop that on. I have another pair of gloves. They are pretty much identical condition, so no real point worrying about that. As it stands, that's all I've got. My warmth bonus and windproof bonus are not great. They're not brilliant. I could do with getting some different boots, some different trousers, and some more layers to go underneath my coat and things like that. So we'll build that up as we go along. I think, as always, if you see my playthroughs before, one of the first goals I always tend to set is to try and make a full set of animal skin clothing, and I tend to want to try and do that before I go to a different region. It doesn't always work out like that, but that's what I'm going to try and do. So if we can do the deerskin trousers and boots and the wolfskin coat, that's the tricky one, obviously, because that means taking wolves out. Rabbit skin mittens, that's quite easy. We can just lay snares. Snares are probably something that I'm going to do. We're gonna craft some of those fairly soon to get ourselves going with the rabbit skin mitts, get ourselves going with some food as well. And we'll start doing a bit of exploring around the region. So we're going to head out. The Red Barn is always a good starting point on Pleasant Valley, and a couple of other places as well. But we've got ourselves set up nicely. We are here in Pleasant Valley. We are in the farmstead. And we've found a few things. We've got a bit of food, we've got a bit of water, we've done our first little bit of cooking, first bit of firelighting, which will help build those skills up. If you've not seen the game before, I'm going to do another tutorial series. I did a tutorial series for The Long Dark. I'm going to rework it, I'm going to redo it, so hopefully we can cover how all of the game works. I'm not going to go too much into detail of how the game works in here. I'm going to kind of assume that you know. If you don't know, check out the tutorial series that I've already got. It's it's not the best, but it's there, and we'll redo that, and hopefully there'll be a new tutorial series as well, so you can understand how the game works. I know it's getting more and more popular, it's on more and more platforms, so really hope people are enjoying playing it. Right, well, we're going to call it a day for the first video, so thank you so much, as always, for joining me once again. We are back. Before we leave, though, I am going to try and start doing this journal for each one that we do. So we'll go into the daily log, and I think I can leave. Can I leave notes in the daily log? Is that general notes, or is that? I think that is in the daily log notes. So, first video. Starting out, set up our base camp, looted the farmhouse. All good to go. Fairly safe, we haven't done very much this video, we just got ourselves started, but you can see that what we have to do, get ourselves a shelter, get ourselves set up. Now we can start venturing out. We're not going to venture massively far on the initially. We're going to start out with baby steps. We'll go gather more resources, get them back here, get ourselves built up a little bit, then we'll start properly exploring. But longevity is the goal for this series. I still haven't hit the magical 100 days in the long dark, so we're going to go for that, and then we're just going to keep going. We're going to see how far we can go. If we can make a full year, 365 in-game days, that would be pretty cool. But if we can't, as long as we can, let's just see how we go. Visit as many regions as we can, gather as much kit as we can, and ultimately get it back here, and set ourselves up a really good survival base. But right now, as always, thank you so much for joining me, and in full webcam video as well. We're going to keep going with this, but thank you so much for joining me. I am going to see you once again for some more Long Dark very soon.